6, what happened last session?
Vampires.
I have
Oh
no
my god, you're
notes.
right.
Would anyone like to add on to vampires?
Iridians.
Bunny Forest.
Crispy vampires.
Okay, I'll give an actual summary. Regrouping after the big vampire fight, we also learned of prisoners being taken in the Consoligo Forest, Navali's homeland. And so, sort of getting our information priorities together, we determined that rescuing these prisoners was necessary, but also striking back against the vampires before they have a chance to hurt us was also necessary. So we were talking about the possibility of splitting, calling upon the help of our other guildmates, our cohorts, and several friendly NPCs to try and develop a plan to strike in two places at once.
Is there anything people would like to add?
Rosalind is being investigated.
Oh yeah, we were barred from any quests that we could take with the guild.
Basically.
Vampire war.
Assuming that no one would like to add on after being barred from quests, you have made plans for how you're planning to split up. Willow needed some time to get equipment. You have at least a day, possibly a few extra if you'd like to take it, to ready yourselves for exactly what your plans are. What would the party like to do for the next few days or day, depending upon how quickly you leave?
Perhaps some logistics first. We did buy stuff, and that should be distributed. Specifically, the 4 healing potions and the holy water reagents. So we have two healing potions for Team Rabbit and 2 healing potions for Team Bunny, but who would want them?
Please decide who's actually carrying them, as that will matter in the future.
Well, Kaito is a dab hand at throwing things, so I guess holy water will probably be best with him.
Additionally, I don't anticipate we'll fight undead in Bunny Forest.
Well, yeah, I think those are purchased for Team Vampires.
Might I suggest splitting the healing potions 2 in each group?
I believe that was planned. It's more who's actually carrying them.
I think Karito should carry one of them.
I'm going to exempt Navali from holding on to the potions for Team Bunny Forest, simply because in case she's down, I think it's better if somebody else has it.
I think because. Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
Oh, for Team Vampire, I was thinking Karito and Permelia should hold them.
Sure. To be clear, any cohort can also carry them.
I was going to ask, I know some people homebrew drinking a potion is a bonus action, but giving it to somebody else is an action. Is that sort of what you do?
The exact ruling that I use is if you want to self-drink, it's a bonus. If you want to pour it down someone else's throat, it's an action.
Gotcha.
For Team Bunnies, I could volunteer to carry one. 6 is pretty tanky and mobile. I might also suggest Willow.
That makes sense to me.
No objections.
I only ask because when it comes to the actual fighting, I want to make sure people know who actually has them.
Okay, and then in theory, should Celestra and Navali do this over the course of a couple hours, make holy water with the ingredients we bought, which would be also held by Team Vampire. Held by somebody in Team Vampire, I should say.
believe Karaka said he's just carrying all of them.
Gotcha.
I might as well.
Karito has practice after the smoke bomb.
Additionally, I was about to mention, like, with a hand wave, yes, you talked to Varya and she made you all the stuff that Six requested.
Thanks, Varya.
I will deduct the money that we discussed in the thing then.
Logistics done with. I'm sure there's other things you want to do before the party actually splitted. I can start just calling on people, unless people would like to volunteer to just start doing things.
No, I think we go straight ahead with the split.
That's not happening, because I know there's scenes that people wanted to have.
Okay. Celastra.
Yes.
I was thinking before we leave of heading to the Bearded Anvil. There's a project that I want to work on, a smithing project. If
Oh, boy.
you have time, would you want to participate?
Definitely. To Skern, I assume I haven't spent too much time to do things with Six.
I mean, consider yourself having at least a day or two. There's no issues with this, yeah.
Okay, cool. Yeah, definitely. What kind of project did you have in mind?
It's a secret, but I'll tell you because you're in on the secret. So,
Okay.
Permelia said that she didn't want to use Oathkeeper anymore, but the only other sword she's got is that very accurate fake Oathkeeper that you made her. And I thought, isn't that kind of morbid? So,
Yeah,
I want to make her her own sword.
let's do it. That sounds fun.
6 miles. I thought because she likes gardening, we could put like flowers on it.
Ooh, that's gonna be pretty.
Maybe if we
Let's
ask the
go
ladies. Yeah, maybe the dwarves will let us use their forge.
Yes. I'm sure they will. Should we head there now?
I think so. Liren was talking about getting all the numbers and stuff ready, and I'm not very good at that.
Yeah, me neither.
As gold is being divided amongst and figuring out the exact shopping list, Six and Celastra head over to the Bearded Anvil. You've been here many times, though they seem a bit active at the moment, possibly because Six gave them a warning like 8 hours ago. Roll perception, both of you.
Mm-hmm. Sorry, one sec. My sheet was not open.
Don't worry about it. You enter, you knock on the door, and they are happy to let you in. You don't quite recognize the person who greeted you, but they seem to understand that you're allowed to be here. Assume you kind of just let them know why you're here.
We'd like to forge a weapon for our quest.
We're using a lot of the forges right now. Tell you what, give me 1 gold piece and it's yours for the day.
Celastra, I'll hand him 2.
All right, yours for 2 days.
It was just a gesture of kindness. We don't need it for 2.
He thinks for a moment. You know, Meridian's going to be real happy about this. So you can still have it for 2 days, but we'll just use it when you're not here.
Works for us. Thank you.
Yeah, thanks. Six is like hyping herself up, Celastra, to do a good job.
Celastra is attempting to match her energy.
Okay, we have to do our best because it's for Permelia and she's really important.
Of course.
So it's
Okay.
going to be the best sword I've ever worked on. And
Oh,
I'm not going to draw a
easily.
dick on it.
I thought that went without saying, but okay.
One of you may roll smithing tools with advantage, or both you may roll it individually.
I think your roll might actually be better than mine.
I'll roll with advantage.
Go for it.
Is dexterity okay, Stern?
Tell me exactly the type of sword you're making,
Permelia uses a longsword, right?
as far as you've seen.
And feel free to chime in on this, Celastra. A longsword with a decorated hilt.
Perhaps floral engraving up the blade?
Ooh, that's a good idea.
So the reason I'm not going to use dex is to make a longsword, there is a lot of strength and constitution involved. This is not a finesse creation. You're not like putting metal together. You're actively melting it down and hammering it into place.
Can we do 2 different rolls, like one for the creation and one for the finish?
That's what I was going to suggest, yes. You can do one roll for the actual creation of the sword. That's going to be strength or constitution, or possibly wisdom if Celastra does it just through sheer, done it many times before. And then dexterity for the engravings.
Sure. Do you want to do it separately?
Yeah, I was thinking, well, I could use my channel divinity for one of those things. Which would you prefer that I use it for? Maybe the engraving?
I would suggest the opposite.
Okay.
Making sure that the sword itself is usable and perfect with the help of your supernatural power means that the base is solid, and then we could work on the engraving with like our own mortal hands as a gesture of like the work, right? Does that make sense?
I love that. Let's do it.
Mark off your channel divinity. You have created a longsword.
With the most beautiful, sharpest edge and amazing balance.
I mean, I'm going to ask you to roll if you want that.
Can I? Yeah, a roll attached to the channel divinity.
Sure.
What do you want? Smith's tools?
Smith's tools. It can be wisdom, constitution, or strength. Either way, this is a usable sword, to be clear, even if you're rolling at one.
Of course. Wow.
It's not perfectly balanced, but it's well balanced. It's not the sharpest blade, but it can cut pretty deeply. It's not bad. Probably still better than the fake Oathkeeper you gave her.
Let's make it pretty.
Smith's tools with dexterity.
Advantage?
I'll allow it with advantage, yeah. Because Celastra's mostly trying to help you on this part.
Thanks, Celastra.
Yeah.
So Celastra totally saved 6.
She was just a little too excited.
Please tell me exactly what your intention was with the floral patterns.
So the hilt itself has floral motifs. There are floral inscriptions up the blade that also have symbols that deal with some of our adventures. There's definitely a cat and a rabbit in there somewhere, and a snake. And
I love it.
It's like there's twisting vines or leaves that go up the blade, and these leaves turn into these symbols.
So if I may take a bit of liberty with what you described.
Sure.
The hilt itself is clearly floral designed, and each petal has a picture of one of the party members of Soto, or more accurately, an animal form of them, as they clearly touch something and go straight up back into the blade as almost like a flower blooming. It goes into the blade, the vines coming up with a very strange red tint that you added intentionally to the actual stabbing point. You have the feeling the blade is more beautiful than most swords that you've ever seen. Though when it comes to actual cutting power, it's just a regular longsword. Let's be clear.
Fair enough.
Celastra, I think we did it.
This looks amazing. What do you think she's gonna think?
I don't know. I didn't think that far ahead.
Well, I'm excited to give it to her.
Me too. I was thinking it's probably going to be stressful because Navali and I are leaving, so maybe she'll have something to remember us with.
This takes
That's a
you
nice thought.
several hours, and as you finish the blade itself and start discussing about giving it away, you hear 6.
Yes?
One of the dwarves. Yeah, not fully familiar, but you've definitely worked with them before. So, standard Dwarven practice. Sword gets named if it's that good, or at least that pretty after it's done. What's its name?
Do I have to name it right now, or can the recipient name it?
Ah, it's one of those present swords.
She nods rapidly. It's for
I
a
mean,
friend.
Normally the blacksmith names it, but if you think that it would be better if she named it, or he, I'm going to assume she.
She nods.
That's completely fine, but I want to know its name because whenever we make it, its sword like that, we like to at least mark it down, points towards a statue.
You like it that much?
Look at the engravings. This is very beautifully done. I mean, admittedly, we'd call this the Elven Prancing Flower Sword, but, I assumed you didn't want that.
Celastra smiles and blushes a little.
If I had to name it, I'm going to give the option to the recipient. If I had to name it, I would name it the Enduring Bloom.
All right. We'll mark that temporarily and let us know if it gets changed.
She looks at Celastra for approval.
She's nodding happily.
Perm's tough.
That's a great name.
She beams. Thanks for your help. I was getting ahead of myself. I'm glad you were here to reel me back in.
Of course. That's what I do.
I'm gonna miss you.
Me too. It's gonna be tough without you guys.
Yeah. You're always so stable. You always know what to do.
I guess it might seem that way, huh?
But do you think that isn't the case?
I don't know. It's hard to be sure when you're in the situation, but we figure it out.
Yeah. Well, I'll do my best.
That I know you will.
And I have to make it back so that we can tell the dwarves what the real name of the blade is.
Of course. And you will. I'm sure.
Thanks for your help. Should we go back?
Definitely. That was a lot of fun.
Sure
Thanks for
was.
inviting me.
Thanks for coming.
And you head out. And As this took several hours, I will ask, is there anything people would like to have been doing during that several hours?
We were
Yes.
at the. Oh,
No, totally go first if you want
no,
to.
no, no, go.
I don't know when Navali would, but she would approach Perm, especially because if I remember correctly, she didn't look so happy during the meeting.
I mean, this is the morning after, to be clear. She will insight.
Okay.
She has been actively trying to avoid eye contact with you and clearly isn't happy about the situation. In fact, you notice her go knock on the basement door and talk to someone at the very least and get her Angel's Bane back. You don't have to delete it from her sheet. But when you approach, she isn't going to try to avoid you. You can tell it's the kind of conflict of she's trying to avoid even mentioning it.
Hey.
Oh, hi. When are you planning to leave?
I'm not sure yet. I think it might be in a few days, but it could change. I'm not so certain. Do you mind if we go upstairs to talk?
Sure. There's a lot of private rooms. I'm sure they'll let us use them.
Right.
And you do that. If anyone's still in the Tandem Imperium, you likely see them do that.
Navali will shut the door behind them, and she'll go up next to Perm. First, I just want to ask you, well, how are you doing?
It's been a lot.
I know.
I've been worse.
There's been a lot that's happened that's very understandably hard, and well, I'm very happy we were able to get Rose out of there and that she is safe.
She kind of has this look of almost trying to correct you, then pausing and dropping it immediately.
You can speak your mind around me, Perm. It's not going to hurt my feelings.
She is still my sister, but I don't know if safe is the right word.
She is no longer in the hands of people who wish to do her harm or who to make her do harm. But yes, there is a lot more that perhaps we can help her out with in the future. Though I admit I don't know the first thing about that, but I'm sure we'll be able to figure out something.
She seems oddly cheerful.
Correct me if I'm wrong, Perm, but I feel like your sister has just been acting like your sister.
Yes, she has, and I know this is gonna sound strange, but anytime that I've been going through things, you know how I want to avoid it, I want to stop it, I go silent or I find something to do, and she's just still It feels like she's stronger than me and doesn't even realize it.
People process things differently, Perm. It doesn't make them weaker. And it doesn't make you weaker for doing something that your sister doesn't. It's just how you cope.
You're right. And she's still definitely her.
Yes, I think we don't have to worry on that part. Sorry, I shouldn't laugh at that.
It's okay. I know she's a lot.
But I admit that I should have said an apology to her a long time ago. I was not exactly kind to her, which is not right because, well, she's your sister. And, yes,
Navali,
yes.
my family are a bunch of assholes. You don't have to apologize.
Yeah. But at least your sister's not like the rest of them. I understand.
I'm glad she's still herself.
Mhm. Me too. And like I said, who knows? Maybe we'll figure something out.
Maybe. Can I ask you a serious question that isn't about my sister?
Navali will nod and she'll find a chair or like 2 chairs for them to sit down. Sure. Anything, Perm.
What are you planning to do?
I assume you're talking about us heading out to find the Iridians.
She nods.
I mean what I said, Perm. I'm going to go there and I'm going to try to get them out. I would prefer not to have bloodshed.
And then what?
I don't know. I just want to make sure they're safe.
When I wanted to make sure my sister was in a better place, she got turned into a vampire. What do you plan to do when you get them out?
It's something perhaps that maybe I want to speak with the rest of the group about, but I was hoping perhaps maybe we could use the teleportation circle to at least get them somewhere safe away. But and Navali kind of pauses, unsure for a moment, but she continues to speak. I don't think it will be easy in the sense of if Aridia truly wants these men dead, I feel like they will try to find a way. I know from experience.
And if you take them to the manor with all the little imp things, you're just putting them in more danger. They're gonna have to deal with fiends, and then if the Vidia follows them, what then? They're not safe there. And if you take them back here, we look what we're about to do. We know they're not safe here. Navali, you, this group, they taught me I have to stop thinking one day at a time. What are you planning to do with them?
I'm going to keep him safe. That's all I know right now, Perm. I know that doesn't speak a lot of confidence, and I know that sounds crazy, but I need to do this. I have to do this. If I'm not the one who does it, then who will?
And why don't you want me to come with you?
Navali has a look of like she expected this question, but she still has a look of like unsure how to answer it. So she pauses and she takes a couple moments. The main reason I didn't want you to bring you here with us, Perm, was it's going to look really bad if you were there and you were seen. You were the Iridian delegate to Dolverand, and I don't want you to get in trouble, and I don't want Dolverand to get in trouble, and I don't want to start a war with Dolverand and Iridia. And I'm worried that if I brought you, that might fuel an unnecessary flame of war.
But maybe I could try talking to them, or maybe I could figure out a way to make it clear that they're under protection or something.
Perm, you wanna know the other reason why I think you need to be here?
She watches you as if trying to figure out exactly what you're about to say and can't seem to come up with an answer.
It's going to be very dangerous here in the next couple of days. It's going to be dangerous for everyone and for a lot of people that we care about. And you know I trust you. You are needed here to make sure that everybody gets out, Parm. You are such a strong, amazing fighter. You are needed here. As much as if we didn't have to worry about problems that could be started with political nonsense, and I would take you with me, but you are needed here. You need. Navali stops at that, kind of like looking at Perm's face to judge what she's thinking.
Roll insight. It's not hard to read her at this moment. She's very clearly distressed by this in a variety of different ways, but understanding. You basically told her, I need you to protect my friends because I know you can, and she understands that. But at the same time, she seems to be physically hurt by this.
You know I would take you if I could, but I
need you
can't.
to promise me.
Hmm.
Promise me you won't keep going. You'll come back.
Don't I always?
No,
When I come back, Perm?
Navali, you were willing. Do you remember the desert?
Navali's face turns into a oh. Yes, I do.
You know, you are someone who's going to do anything you can to save people. And if that means you have to make a new home for them, you will. You can't do that. Please. Come back.
I just want to make sure that they get out safely, Perm. I will be back. But I need to make sure they're safe too. Besides, I have Six with me. I doubt she'll let me run off and create a new country.
She absolutely would.
I'm going to miss you a lot.
Good. That means you'll come back.
Well, if this perhaps hasn't hopefully soured anything, I would like to at least go on one more date with you before I leave. Or we could save it for when I come back. It's up to you, Perm.
She seems to look out the window for. There's no window there. She seems to look at the wall for a moment. Both.
One before I leave, and one when I get back.
Yeah, this way you know what you have to look forward to.
I don't need something to look forward to, Perm. I already have you.
But I do.
Yeah, that's true. I don't know, like I said, when we're going to leave, but let's find some time before then.
Well, if we have to tell Liren, no, we're taking another day, we just will.
Yes.
Okay.
And I know this conversation was hard, Perm, but I appreciate you being honest with me. You know that, right?
Well, I assume you would have told me to stop, or you're a very willful person, and I love that about you, so I assume I'm not doing anything wrong.
Mm-mm. No. I would prefer you speak your mind to me. It helps me get a good idea. And I just like hearing you talk. Navali blushes a little and
Oh, well, how about we talk about our date now, and this way we know what to do.
I like that. Let's do that.
And we will cut this scene as you start talking about all the vegan restaurants you're going to go to, which she has a look of, why did I agree to this? So, reference, yes, you were at the Tandem Imperium, but you can do whatever you like. You can easily leave without any issue.
I don't know that Rev would feel comfortable leaving, given kind of everything that's happened, the breach in kind of privacy slash security, and also how close we are to doing this thing. I think the training area was in the basement, right?
Yeah.
I think honestly, provided that they're okay with that, that's where Rev would be.
Whenever you
kind of
knock
brooding.
on the basement door, Crow will open the door and just kind of go, there's some areas we're not going to let you go to, but sure, we can take you to the training area.
Thank you.
Rolling perception. Don't worry about it. You tell me about the training you do.
So Rev is doing this to kind of tell himself that he's training, right, prepping for this thing. So maybe switching different forms, like to a dagger, to his saber, to maybe a great sword, a halberd, just trying out different things. But he's also kind of just sort of brooding slash processing. Maybe ineffectively, but that's effectively what he's doing down there.
The entire time, you feel as if Crow is sitting by you, as if making sure you don't sneak off. You understand this. You've been part of other jobs where you always need to have someone watching you to make sure you don't go to places you're not supposed to go.
Right.
And as you're just practicing in front of her, she gives it. So you can do that just whenever you want.
I'll kind of pause on whatever he's doing and address her. I changed. Yeah, yes.
Is that your powers or
Powers given to me. I wouldn't call them mine.
so it's not from Sophia?
He shakes his head.
She points towards the ethereal bat over on the ceiling. I've only used it once, and I'm always afraid it's gonna go away. Are you ever afraid she will?
Sometimes. I've had a few scares, I guess. Different things that have happened. Where she just was cut off, or yeah.
It's weird, right? Like, I guess you can talk to yours, but it feels like I want it to stay, but I can't even talk to it.
What would you say to it if you could?
Thank you?
Rev will look up at the. You said it was an ethereal bat, correct?
Yep.
And he will. He doesn't. I don't know if he knows what this even would do or looks like, but he'll try to talk to it and he'll try to thank it on her behalf.
Roll me an intelligence check. You make the strangest sounds in your voice. And with a 19, you are positive you came up with the correct sounds. It's like the fluttering of wings that should not be possible with your vocal cords, but it works. It's as if air itself seems to move, and the bat kind of flaps for a bit and then lands directly on top of Crow's hand and nuzzles against her, and then flies back up. She seems very confused by this.
I recently acquired the ability to maybe talk to them.
You know Hazel's gonna want to know you can do that, right?
He nods.
Apparently, that little secret project is because of what yours told us, so
What do you mean? Unless I'm not allowed. You said
it's secret.
fair. Well, if I can be of assistance, yeah, I'd be happy to. You've been very cordial to us, and I want to, you know.
Well, with the brothel being closed for a while, our coin's gonna start to dry up. If I get hungry, can I just ask you to buy me some food?
Sure. Or do you want me to spot you something right now, or however you want
We
to do it?
have some now. It's just they're spending a lot of money on that whole project.
Of course. Yeah, anything you need.
And I mean this in the nicest way to them. They forget that some of us need actual food.
Right. We can assist if need be.
Actually, do you know a nice place to eat or a good chef?
I'm sure Rev might know someplace around here, right?
Sure. You've lived in this city your entire life, and let's be completely honest with you, Reverence, you don't know how to cook.
Yeah, he'll recommend like a nice place, like an actually nice place, probably one he can't get into.
Sure. Maybe I'll head there tonight, and I'll have Varia take over for the evening. I'm just tired of eating eggs and cheese.
Very understandable.
And unless there's more you'd like to ask her, she simply goes back to reading her book as you practice in front of her.
He'll practice for a little bit longer and then probably brood for the rest of the time.
She's not going to question brooding, she understands.
At some point, Leo would want to catch Rev, but I don't know that unless somebody else is doing escorts to the basement, maybe it's a different time.
I mean, if you just knock on the door, the training area is close enough that Crow can just go get you. Additionally, after an hour or two, I'm sure Rev would stop practicing and just come back up. Is this correct, Rev?
Yeah.
I'm sure. Then upstairs, perhaps. Leo lays out the equipment that we've already out of character assigned to people. Just sort of as if it hasn't been handed out yet, and says, "I think we're set unless there's anything else."
Can think of this should be sufficient. You may want to ask 6 just to make sure.
Leo nods, and is anybody else in the bar right now? Bar area?
Tushiyuki and Rose are still there. Willow wandered off, and Karuto, you still there?
Yeah, for lack of anything better to do, at least at the moment.
Could I have just a private moment? When either now or later before we leave?
With me?
Yes.
Sure. Now is fine. Do you want to have it here or someplace else?
We'll find a room, I suppose. Leo will find an accessible room. He's conscious of being overheard. Like he has a little bit of maybe not an air of paranoia. I don't want to suggest that Leo looks like standard Leo all the time, but he does pick a further room than you would expect from perhaps Karuto or somebody at the bar.
Rev will follow.
When we went to look for you in the warehouse, I had notified Rosawin's assistant, Sarley. Could unfortunately could be what ties her to all this in the investigation that she's under. But I guess I had a thought, and I wanted. You can do what you want with this, but I just wanted to share it. He has always been suspicious of me every time I message her, and I expect he will be one of the first people they talk to as part of this investigation, and as part of that, probably point directly to me. Maybe generally point to the guild, but as far as he's concerned, I'm still in charge, just because paperwork and Roswin's perspective on things.
I think I follow, but what specifically is your concern?
It's not a concern. I'm just letting you know if you need to. If we're gone and they question where I am, and if this investigation would burden you from doing what needs to be done, you can tell them that I ran and they can look for me.
You are suggesting using yourself as a scapegoat.
If it comes to it, I obviously don't want that, but I feel like things are about to get very hectic for you and everybody else who's here, and it may be a loose alibi, for lack of a better word. You know, you haven't seen me since the beach party, and you sent Six and Navali to find me. Something like that. You also have documentation to take over the guild hall should you ever need it. But to be clear, I don't want this. I'm just, you know, if you need to get them off your back, it's okay.
I appreciate your concern, and I appreciate that if it should come to something like this, that you would be willing to. But at the very least, or at least, I don't intend to do such a thing out of a manner of convenience, vampires or no. Or put another way, I don't know how everyone else feels. I don't like the idea of using a member of Shield of the Outcast in any capacity as a scapegoat. As far as I'm concerned, we will stand together if there is a legal or other issue as far as this goes. An interesting idea, but I don't think it will come to that.
I appreciate you saying that, but I just, everything you guys are doing, it seems like the only way I can help at this point.
How do you mean?
Well, I'm not going to be here, so if the only way I can help is to give you an out, I don't know. But Leo looks like he's sort of at a loss for words. Like he hears what you're saying, but at the same time he's ready for whatever comes, sort of, like if it came to it. I just don't want you fighting both the Dulveron government and the vampires at the same time. The odds are already quite stacked against you if there's indeed as many of them as Rose says. But that's all. And of course I'll bring them back as fast as I can.
Right. Well, you indicated wondering how you can help. I think the best way to help in this regard is to simply offer Navale as much assistance as possible. I'll take care of things here.
Leo kind of has a somber nod and just sort of like all that's said has needed to be said, so he sort of nods and turns around to open the door and leave.
I suppose I'll ask, Reverence, do you stop him?
No, I don't think so.
In that case, you head back to the bar area, and with that conversation, we will also just ask, what else would people like to do for the few days before you split the party? I mean, if no one gives an answer, I know Navali has multiple answers.
I was gonna say I didn't want to jump in case there is something else people wanted to do.
Go for it.
I want to pull Rev aside.
Ollie,
Rev, you have a moment?
of course. What's up?
I assume we're probably still in.
This is probably legitimately directly after talking to Familia. Who, I will mention, just grabs her sister and talks to her for a bit, and it looks like they intend to leave for at least a moment.
So we're still at the Tandem Imperium.
Yep.
Navalia is gonna motion over for Rev to come sit down with her. I know this is perhaps not the best place, but there was something I've been meaning to talk to you about for a while. Or I should say best time, but...
All right. What's going on?
I was wondering perhaps if before we go, we might... if I could have a chance to speak with Sophia. There's some questions regarding Yuki Onna that I would like to ask.
I see. Yeah. I think that could be arranged.
It's been on my mind for a while, but there are a few things, such as I'm curious to know if there is a way to Sophia can speak with you, Rev, and I guess I'm wondering if there's perhaps a chance I could speak with Yuki Onna. But well, I would also be curious about finding out the place of power where Yuki Onna comes from. If I remember correctly, she was, what's the word? Corrupted? Her word is the one that is currently taken hold over the Idola, but it is not the original word. I guess what I'm just trying to say is I've got a lot of questions, and we have a little bit of downtime, so I thought maybe I could get some answers.
Yeah, I think that's a good idea. That reminds me of something, since we're sharing things. I don't think I've ever talked much about my powers, the magic I have I?
I know you've mentioned about the connection that we have now, thanks to... well, I'm sure you remember.
Right, right. Um, well, I don't know how perhaps you receive your magics, your spells. I don't know how anyone does. My abilities sort of come to me. It's difficult to explain. When one of my abilities came to me, I saw something in a place made of ice, snow and tundra for miles. I'd been meaning to mention this, but I, as you mentioned, I didn't know when would be a good time.
Snow and tundra.
I don't know that it's directly related, but I've seen what your ability can do. It at least puts me in the same mindset.
Before Yuki and I bonded, I would have dreams of being in the midst of a snowstorm, and she would be behind me, and I never got the sense of fear being there. And I don't know if it was because I knew I was in a dream or if she was there protecting me. But I don't know, you speaking of a frozen tundra, that does perhaps give me some sense of an idea of maybe your hunch is correct.
It's just something I wanted to mention, something we can explore once we've taken care of some things. But if you wish to speak to Sophia, you tell me when, and we can make that happen.
Mm-hmm. I still need to form some questions, but I
Of course.
wish to do that. I think perhaps it might also be able to help us in the future if maybe asking some questions about regarding corrupted Idola.
Very well. We'll make it happen then.
Thank you, Rev. I appreciate it.
He nods.
That's all Navali had for Rev. Although I did also want to go to the Helm Church, but if somebody else wants to do a scene, please go for it.
Do it.
Can I?
Or, I was about to say, we switched to 6 giving the sword to Permelia.
Oh, I still have to do that. I need to steal Karito too.
Carter
Go for it.
first.
What is Karito up to while we're preparing?
So to set the scene a little bit, actually, let's step back. 6, Lostra. You arrive back at the Tandem Imperium a few hours later, sword in hand, expecting to give it to Permelia, who is not inside the building. If you ask anyone off to the side, they say she just left with Rose not too long ago.
That makes sense.
It should be back soon, right?
I'm not worried. Is Karito just around?
Yep. Character is just like making himself available.
Karito, I have to talk to you before we split.
By all means.
It's extremely important.
Character looks more serious.
Roll insight.
Insight.
Her words are saying that it's serious, but her posture and tone are not serious even slightly.
Character seems a little confused for a moment before the slightest hint of a smirk appears on his lips. I see.
As you know, Karito, we make an effective team in combat. Primarily when I yell at you, let's be honest.
Very true.
But I'm not going to be here to yell at you. So,
What?
good.
What are you trying to say, Six?
What I'm saying is, I had a thought. I want to yell at you right now, so that if you ever get flustered or frustrated in combat and you can't hit the target, just remember me yelling at you, and then it'll work.
Character smiles at that, generally and broadly. I can see the principle behind this, yes.
We're just yelling in advance. We're preparing.
Exactly.
Can I do it, like, right now?
He looks around the bar. I suppose.
God's above, Karuto. We're in life-threatening danger, and you can't even hit the fucking target. Who trained you? How did you get this far? Do it again, and this time don't suck.
Toshiyuki physically jumps a bit further away from you.
How was that? Was that pretty good?
Character is broadly grinning at this point and nods. I feel this will suffice when I am in trouble.
Excellent. If you ever get scared or you can't do it, just remember that, and it'll be like I'm right there.
Karuto like holds out his hand as if like, a grip of mutual respect kind of thing.
She shakes.
A firm nod.
Toshiyuki, sorry, this is a joke that he and I have.
Of course. Your friends are quite interesting.
I don't think I would have made it this far without them.
Inari speaks in strange ways, and I'm certain that this cat speaks for her. Obviously unsure of his own words as he says this.
Ah, you hear that, Six? You're an avatar now.
I look at Celastra quizzically.
Oops, sorry, I was muted. Celastra is also as confused as she is.
I don't know if that's the truth, but if it is, go get him, Karuto.
I will do my best, just as I am sure you will do yours.
I know you will. I'm not actually worried.
He is one of the better trained assassins of the Veil. I am certain that he shall have no dangers.
Karuto looks politely surprised at this. I believe that is the nicest thing you've said to me so far.
I thought it barred no reason to speak until someone decided that you're incompetent.
She was not saying I am incompetent, merely incomplete without her assistance.
We're a team. I make an opening, he shoots. He never misses.
That is logical. That makes sense.
Thanks for agreeing to come to help, Toshiki.
Of course. I believe that you will keep me safe, and if my skills are valuable, I hope that they aid in your endeavors.
Hey, keeping people safe is what Navali and I are good at.
I believe in your abilities, for he looks towards Karuto. If my kin does, so must I.
I'll drink to that.
Ah, speaking of drinks, he takes up the sake bottle. Would you like to drink this for the night?
She looks at Celastra and Karuto.
I believe it would bring us good fortune to do so.
Celastra shrugs in a why not fashion.
I'm in.
He gathers glasses from the bar and pours all of you a drink of sake. It is incredibly alcoholic, and I require a con save from everyone, so lost you have advantage.
Hooray.
I also have advantage because of my tokens. Yeah, I think yep, Constitution saving throws. Wait, is it check or saving throw?
Saving throw.
Okay, I get advantage. Woo! Whoa!
Good thing you have advantage.
Yep.
It is clearly very strong, but it hits none of you hard, at least in the first few glasses. I'm going to ask Navali, do you intend to go to the temple tonight or the next day?
Not tonight. I will wait until the next day.
In which case, I will continue with Six wanting to give the sword back. A few hours pass as you make drink and merriment, and the door opens, and Rose and Promelia have returned, with Rose carrying a large bag very happily, and Promelia looking slightly annoyed.
You guys are back. I'm kind of assuming we're still just hanging out and drinking.
Yes. Yes, you see, I was starting to run out of cosmetics, and I had to take my sister to go find the greatest places that I've already found, and mostly to use her gold, as the vampire is no longer funding me.
Did you find those things?
Absolutely, I have brilliant nail polish of many colors. Would you like me to do your claws in the future? It could be a fun experience.
Is she trying to get something out of me?
Roll insight.
Squint.
She is trying to be nice and has no idea how to be nice to you.
Sure. Let's try it.
Excellent. When would you like me to paint your claws?
What if we do tomorrow before we leave?
Is your preferred color?
Surprise me.
Ooh.
Something
I shall not
dangerous.
disappoint.
I can't say I've ever had my claws painted.
Then it shall be a unique experience for both of us, and I'm sure that it will immediately fall off the moment you undo them from your fur.
Maybe?
I have no idea, and she skips off to a room.
Promelia,
Hi, Six.
come drink.
Yes, please.
She scoots over at the table to make room.
Another glass is poured for her. Is this our drink before we split up?
So it depends on how many you wish to have until that point.
Right. Just keep refilling me, please.
Hey, about that split up.
Six, roll perception. She has Angel's Bane in her side again.
You got your sword back.
Oh, yes.
I thought you didn't want to wield it anymore.
She takes another drink in response to that. So, it's not that I didn't want to, but I knew that I needed to leave it behind because Reverence told me to and not to explain why.
Oh, okay. This is kind of embarrassing. I thought you didn't want to use it anymore, and I thought it was kind of sad that you had to carry around a fake Oathkeeper. So I had an idea, and Celastra and I made you something.
What?
It's this sword.
I assume you unsheathed it and put it in front of her.
Sure.
It's beautiful. I didn't get you anything. Feel a little bit bad about that now.
No, it's not. I thought it would be stressful because I'm going and so is Navali. So I made little pictures of all of our friends and you can have this with you.
She is looking at it very carefully. 6. Roll persuasion with advantage.
I'm going to use my commanding presence.
Sure.
$17.
You can see that she is very much touched by this, and she seems to be looking over the sword very carefully, finding out all these little trims of where the vines meet into pictures of animals and where the blade seems to turn. It almost looks like thousands of vines instead of an edge going into the point, and she seems to trace it up and down. Realizes it's still a sharp and usable blade. It's really beautiful. Um, are you sure it's okay if I make it bloody?
Yeah. We made it for you, right? She looks up at Celestra.
Celestra nods vigorously.
I I promise I'll make sure that no one gets hurt. No one dies. I can't promise no one gets hurt.
There's something else. It's my mask. It's magic. I don't know if you know.
The scary one?
The scary one. It's magic. And you might need it.
The one you scream in?
Yeah, do you know what that scream does?
Hurts my ears?
It's hard to describe. But if something has a grip on your friends' minds, you can yell so loud that it can help snap them out of it. So if you get scared, or lonely, or feel like your friends are hurt, you can yell real loud, and it might help them come back to their senses.
6. You don't have to give me. She pauses, thinks back to a conversation from earlier, and she just gives you a hug.
She hugs back real tight. I'm gonna miss you, Permelia.
I'm gonna miss you too, but can you promise me something?
Yeah.
You need to come back because I need to return the favor. I need to get you a present next time.
Okay. And there's one more thing.
Please stop.
She leans in to whisper, I will keep her safe and make sure she comes back.
I know you will. Can you do me one more favor? As she lowers her voice to whisper in your ear now.
She nods.
Make sure she doesn't go too far.
She nods. I promise.
So, what's the sword's name?
Oh, shit, right. I was gonna let you name it. I came up with a name if you can't think of one.
She pauses to think. The blooming garden of eternal vines.
Sure.
Are you sure it's not too much?
Do you like it?
I love it. I promise I'll keep it safe, and I know you're wondering, oh no, you already have a sword. You know I'm going to need one that can actually kill things, right?
Yeah. Hey, the blooming garden of eternal vines it is.
I'll make sure that any undead try to touch them realize that, well, Pretty is very dangerous.
So it is.
In return, she takes the fake oath keeper and just hands it to you. Someone says that maybe you're not part of Iridia. Maybe this could help.
I pretended to be a slave before. I can do it again.
Exactly. Also, servant.
Huh?
You're not slaves, you were servants.
Right, I'm a servant. I'm gonna get educated. She clicks her tongue and does a finger gun. I did it in real life. Six does it too.
Some more drinking?
One plate.
Is there anything else people would like to do for the evening as at least half the party continues to drink sake? Right. So assuming that my sound is working and I didn't miss anything, let's take a quick 5-minute break and we'll come to the next part of the what people do in the tomorrow afterwards.
Hooray.
Yeah.
Hooray.
Before we go into the next morning, I require a Constitution saving throw with advantage on Karuto and Celastra for Vermilia 6, Celastra, and Karuto.
Institution.
Most of you sleep without too much issue, though Navala, you notice that Vermilia seems to be having a nightmare in the middle of the night and wakes you up.
Navali will give her lots of kisses and hugs to help her.
Roll persuasion?
Persuasion. Oh no.
It doesn't help.
Do you want me to go get you something to drink?
She doesn't seem to wake up.
Oh. Harm? She'll start shaking her.
Over the course of the night, you can tell she's breathing and not having too much issues, but she does not wake up from her dreams.
I want to try to insight.
Sure. Roll Arcana. You can tell this is a magically induced effect.
I am going to get Celastra. Helm? I'm sad at how true that is. I'm gonna go get Celastra.
You wake up Celastra. It's like 2 in the morning.
Celastra, I need your help.
What is it?
I think Perm has a magical effect on her, and I just need your help.
Oh goodness. Okay, let's go.
I'm sorry to wake you up so early. Come on, this way.
It's fine.
I bring Celastra to Perm. She's not waking up, and I sense there's some magic on her, and I'm not certain what is happening.
Can I roll Arcana?
May. Not sure if it's a magical effect or just like she's not doing well. I will also let you roll medicine in return.
Excellent. Wow.
I mean, you can tell she's breathing. She's not having any complications with that. Her pulse seems fine. It's not as if she's like. You can tell she's not taking internal damage or anything to that degree. Just that she is clearly moving around as if she's having a nightmare, but not waking up when you try and shake her.
Mm-hmm.
Do you have any sort of magic that might be able to dismiss it?
I honestly don't really know what it is, but I could try.
I'm just worried because she looks like she's having a nightmare and I can't wake her up and you know.
To Skern, can I prepare a different spell, or do I just have what I had yesterday?
You have what you had yesterday
Okay.
because you have not actually completed a long rest yet.
Yeah. Well.
That being said, after this, you're going back to bed, so you can just shotgun things.
Can I ask freedom of movement? I don't know if this particular effect would be considered paralyzation or being restrained, but I'd like to try it if I can.
You attempt freedom of movement. The effect goes on her without any issues. Navali, she's moving more in her sleep now.
Oh boy. Hmm. Do you think I should maybe go get Leo up and see if he might be able to also figure something out?
That's a good idea. I think he might know more about what's happening than I do.
Do you mind if you stay with her while I go get him?
Sure, I'll watch her.
Thank you. And Navali will run to go get Leo.
Leo, you're woken up. It's like 2 a.m.
Is everything fine?
No, I think there's a magical effect on Perm, and she's not waking up.
Leo's already stood up and grabs his bag and follows you.
Navali leads Leo to Perm and Celestra.
Go ahead.
Sorry. I mean, Leo observes, I assume, the baseline of what you've explained, but
Yep.
First he will just very quickly cast Detect Magic in the room.
Let me double check at school. There is illusion magic directly over her.
Would I be able to Arcana to sense whether or not knocking her out of the stream would be harmful?
You may.
Or whatever it is. I'm presuming it's some kind of bad dream.
You are positive that if it is what you think it is, that knocking her out of it would probably be okay unless the nightmare is actively trying to hurt her, in which case you would still suffer some ill effects. That being stated, it doesn't look like her body's actually getting worse, so while it's clear that she's having a bad dream, it doesn't seem as if it's physically harming her.
Just to clarify, it wouldn't make her knocking her out of it wouldn't help her from suffering the ill effect of it, but it could still provide.
It could stop the effects.
It could stop the effects, but it might not keep her from
taking damage.
Having which means it wouldn't get worse. She would at least be awake. Okay. Leo will just sort of double check just before doing his instinct. He's going to pull out the pearl out of his bag and identify on her.
Is the dream spell, though I will state, I have to check. Does identify give you the spell level? I don't think it does.
I do not believe so.
It definitely seems like a powerful version of the dream spell.
Leo kind of looks at Nivali and Celastra, and then I have an idea. Do you mind?
As long as she won't get hurt.
I don't. Leo looks at his own arm, and he'll give her like knowing that he does 0 damage with strength with an unarmed strike. He's going to slap her.
Oh my god.
She does not wake up.
Navali looks at Leo confused. Why did you slap her?
There are different types of sleep spells. Some that you can force awake. I'm afraid. Leo looks at his spell list and feels helpless for a moment. The truth is, I think looking towards Elastra, I don't have the means to pull her out of this, and if you don't, then the best thing to do is wait. She should awake after sleeping. At least the spell, as I am familiar, as I am able to discern, it's simply holding her throughout her rest, but she will be back.
I don't have anything more to do now that wouldn't potentially hurt her, I don't think.
Okay.
Just one other. Leo's gonna, on the off chance it's anything she's carrying, can he laser in on maybe the source of, like, on the off chance it's coming from Angel's Bane or something like that?
It doesn't appear to be coming from any of her items. It seems to just be over her body. You can tell that Angel's Bane still has the magical effect when you detect magic on it and does not seem to be interfering with it or changing it. And I think she has the mask near her at the moment, and it also has a magical effect, but doesn't appear to be the cause of it.
Sort of as an abundance of caution, can Leo re-identify Angel's Bane?
Sure.
Is same old?
Nothing's changed.
Okay.
I can stay up with her. I don't think I'll be able to sleep, honestly, so perhaps maybe in the morning we can figure something out if she's not awake.
Somebody is choosing to do this, and it could. Do I have some? Leo has some player. Leo's player has some player knowledge over the spell, but is Leo able to discern sort of the standard spell?
Because you rolled a pretty high Arcana, yeah.
Okay. Somebody chose to do this, and the fact that she's thrashing the way she did does imply hostile intent. Some people could use this spell for long distance communication at night, but if they're using these methods as they are, then they want her to know. So,
do you think it might be one of the vampires?
Leo kind of leans in and says to both Celestra and Navali and says, I didn't want to say this because I know I can be offensive and paranoid and such, but just given that she's been spending some time with Rose, and given that Rose did kind of abduct our leader at some point, it just I'm not suggesting that Rose is in on this, but I don't know that I feel like I have a full accounting of what she's capable of. We do know vampires to have charm-like effects. I don't know that Rose would do this to her own sister, you know.
I don't think it was Rose, but
But well, suffice to say, I guess what I would.
let me do something real quick just to ease our mind. I'm gonna turn in Divine Sense.
Ooh, I have to look something up.
Oh God.
According to my notes, you can tell with the mixture of everything else that has been said, the detect magic, knowing that this is a spell, there's a flicker of divine energy that seems to be coming off of her, of celestial powers.
It seems celestial. The whatever is around her, I don't sense any undead or fiendish nature from it. It's just celestial.
And yet it's a negative experience.
Well,
So
we still don't truly understand about the 5. It could maybe be something with that.
does she have a holy symbol that she still would wear?
She is not wearing any of them now. Though off to the side, you do see she would put it down and not be wearing it and be in one of her bags, but you do see a symbol that would be of Diaphora.
Leo's going to identify that after the experience with Six's gun not pinging magic. He's just sort of
Seems
investigating.
fine.
Okay.
It's completely mundane.
I could also perhaps maybe wake up Reverence and see if he might have any ideas. I don't want to try to wake up everybody, but well, I'm just worried, and Rev also has magic talents as well.
I have never seen Rev do something that would pull this off. What occurs to me is when it looks towards Celestra, when Six was having those dreams outside of the Metal Temple, you had a spell that we had prepared at the time. But assuming you don't have that now, it might just be something to have on hand tomorrow night.
Yes, that's the plan. Unfortunately, I don't have it prepared.
I could, my muscles aren't very strong. We could go a little harder, but
No, I would prefer to
No,
not hit
yes,
her again.
I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
No, I can stay up with her. I don't want to keep either of you up, especially because I know that could interfere with magic capabilities, but I can stay up and just try to make sure she's okay throughout the rest of the night.
I'd be happy to take watches, so to speak, if you want to trade off.
I think I'll be able to sleep. Or not sleep. I think I'll be able to be okay with not getting one night's rest.
Leo gives you the look that's sort of like, but you really shouldn't. But then he doesn't say that, and he just sort of nods. I'm sorry, I don't have anything.
No, it's all right. thank you to both of you for coming and checking on her.
Of course.
Just the only sorry, is Rose out of character? Is Rose staying in the Tanampherium, or is she?
Yeah.
Should we just go see if Rose is around? Just given that they have been spending some time together recently.
I mean, it might not hurt, but mm.
Perhaps.
Well, Leo, here's the problem. Rose doesn't know exactly about me and Perm.
Perhaps I'll just go knock on Rose's door and talk about magic stuff.
Just
no, I don't know.
if yeah, she doesn't know about me and Perm, and I don't think that's something that Perm wants to have to deal with when I'm gone. Or at all right now. It wouldn't really make sense if, like, how did you discover my sister was under this effect? It's the middle of the night. What are you doing in my sister's room in the middle of the night? It would look pretty suspicious. It's all right though. I can stay up. It will be fine. You two should go get your rest. I thank you for coming out here and helping, but I should be good for now.
Leo nods and sort of has nothing more to say, so he leaves. He will, while his detect magic is up, though, just sort of casually walk by Rose's room, just in case some energy is leaching out from under the door. I don't know.
Roll me perception.
Yeah.
You don't see any energy leaking out of the door or anything that's like clearly magical.
Yeah. Against his better judgment, wants to get more involved, but he's doing as he was told, so he will go back to his room and ponder before going back to sleep.
Well, I'll ask, is there anything else Celestra or Navali do before Navali just stays up watching and Celestra goes back to sleep?
Celestra is tired. She goes to bed.
Navali stays up with Perm. Or, for Perm.
Navali, roll me another perception. It's around a few hours later, probably near dawn, when she stopped shaking. And then about an hour later, as you can feel as if it would be about morning, she stretches a bit and seems to be waking up without any ill effects.
Perm? Are you okay?
Yeah, just a strange dream.
Why
are you hovering over me?
Navali kind of puts a hand on her head as like a, oh my gosh. She is very relieved.
Oh, okay. Everything's a bit sensitive. Sorry.
No, I hold on. I'll move, and she does that. You were shaking a lot in your sleep, and I couldn't wake you up, and I didn't know what to do, so I grabbed.
Navali, I'm sorry. Can you do that hangover cure thingy?
Yes, of course. I give her 5 lay on hands.
Thank you.
I'm sorry. I should have done that before. Are you okay for me to keep going?
Yes.
you were shaking a lot in your sleep, and I wasn't sure what was happening, and I couldn't wake you up. I sensed it was something magical. I got Celastra, and she couldn't think of anything to do or couldn't do anything, so we got Leo, and we weren't able to do anything. And
It was a magical effect.
yes, well, you weren't waking up. Well, I mean, you said you had a strange dream, and well, I don't. I think I've told you, but I can sense things from people, and I did it on you, and I sensed something celestial in nature with the magic that was around you. I know this is a lot, and you're just waking up. I have been up for several hours
Why?
because I was worried about you.
Sleep. No, you can't. It's morning. We have things to do. Navali,
Mm-hmm.
this is why I'm worried about you.
I couldn't help it. You.
She just hugs you. It's gonna be okay. I'm fine.
I'm so
Please.
tired, Perm.
Please go to bed at reasonable hours when I'm gone.
Okay. I might try to get 1 hour sleep in, though. I'm very tired.
Okay, I'll go talk to everybody else and let them know, I guess. Sure.
Navali gives Perm a thumbs up and collapses into bed for at least an hour.
Sure. So anyway, morning comes, you all get a long rest, don't worry about it. Except Navali, obviously. You get a point of exhaustion. Morning has come. For Celestia and Leo, Permelia seems perfectly awake and completely fine.
So she wasn't necessarily given nightmares from the dream spell, just given a
Hard to
dream.
tell. At the very least, it doesn't seem like she was physically harmed in any way or form, so probably not nightmares from the dream spell with your Arcana roll.
Okay. Good enough, I guess.
Is there anything people would like to do in the morning?
Navali would after she has like an hour nap.
After your power nap, people get to see Navali be very tired.
What's your deal?
It's a long story.
Apparently, I was shaking in my sleep and she was worried and didn't sleep.
It was a magical effect.
Oh, was it like the really hot place with the fire?
Yeah, and it's like my claws were really. My hands had like claws, but they're not like cat claws. Like my fingernails were claws.
Oh yeah, it's
And
the bottle.
yeah, and when I swung at the wall, like the blade I was using exploded in weird energy. It was weird.
Yeah, it's creepy.
So it wasn't anything bad?
It's Toshiki sake bottle. Like Karito and I had it too.
Does that happen every time?
How's it? I don't remember last time.
It didn't happen this time for me.
It is only if you become, how they say, insensate drunk.
I did drink a lot.
Yeah, you did.
Oh, I'm very tired. Navali just sits down at a table and just like tries not to slump.
Well, didn't you have things you needed to do before we split the party?
Yeah, I just need to get some coffee in me and then I can go.
Come on, let's go get that for you. And she will just like help you walk.
Once Permelia and Navali are out of the room, Six turns to Karito and starts to snicker.
It seems people are not very good at remembering things.
I think they have a lot on their mind.
Understandably.
Oh my god, I hope that Navali didn't stay up all night.
It definitely looks like she did.
Oh no.
I'm assuming this conversation is loud enough for Celestra and Leah to also hear.
Definitely.
Leo knows nothing about this bottle, other than you can ask it questions. So now he's sort of just like hands in head, like, I wish I knew that.
Well, 6. Is there any conversations you'd like to have before Sleepy Navali goes to talk to people?
What's Rev up to?
So once again, if we're not deploying this particular day, he is just hanging around the Tandem Imperium, probably in the basement again.
Would it
Ah, yes. Optimal sulking place, sorry.
could it be reasonable to assume that Six asked around and heard Rev was in the basement?
In the morning, what could have easily happened is as you were snickering, you noticed that Rev knocked on the door and Crow let him in.
I would like to go down to the basement.
Sure. You knock on the door, Crow goes, there's places you can't go, but if you just want to see Reverence, sure, that makes my life easy.
Sure, I'm just looking for Rev.
Just so you know, I will be there, so if there's any private conversations, I will hear all of it.
Okay.
She just leads you to Rev, who's, I assume, doing the same thing he did yesterday.
Yes.
What's up, guild leader?
We'll kind of take a break and make his sword a sword again. Just preparing, I suppose.
Don't stop on my behalf. She gets her claws out.
You want to spar?
Sure.
Rev will assume a combat stance.
Palma's busy, don't die.
I don't know how to proceed, whether to actually roll things or simply to
Up to you.
announce that they spar.
I'm happy to just say you spar, and you don't have to actually do any rolls. But if you guys want to actually do, like, we roll against each other to see who would win that sparring match, that's fine.
Rev,
Yes.
what would you say to flipping a coin and just saying odds or evens, one person takes the upper hand in the match?
Sure.
Sure. I'll roll it. Call odds or evens.
Odds.
Rev slams the blade into you, and you barely manage to block and get knocked off your feet, which would be a definite loss in any official rule sets.
Ugh. You really have been preparing, haven't you?
Yes. I just want to make sure I'm ready.
You seem ready to me. Ugh.
I hope so.
That's what I wanted to come down here and talk to you about. And then I got distracted.
About being ready?
Yeah. Are you doing okay?
I'm prepared for this.
He's sulking.
I'm sulking and I'm prepared for this.
Why are you sulking?
Okay, I'm not going to beat around the bush. And he's kind of looking at Crow.
She waves, just clearly reading a book, completely ignoring you now.
What happened to Rose was my fault.
What? How do you mean?
If I perhaps would have disseminated information better, she would have known about threats. If I would have, I don't know, told Permilia more.
Six gets a look of understanding.
And we had this talk, and it's not all right, Six.
Can I
At
give
least
you
not for me.
Can I give you my opinion?
I'll gesture.
Sometimes you are very guarded, and it makes it harder to know you. Sometimes it feels outside of combat like you don't trust us. But even if you could have warned Rose or whatever, it's the vampire's fault. The vampires attacked her, not you.
To get to me.
To get to you.
To watch me, I suppose.
Yeah, if it wasn't her, it would have been someone else. Willow. A shopkeeper.
His ears wilt.
We're dealing with predators. They're trying to hurt you. We're not going to let them win, right?
It's not.
Hey, come here. She tries to put a hand on your shoulder.
I'll never allow this, so.
I'd like it if you were a little more open with me. But also, you didn't do this. Vampires did this.
Thank you, Six.
She smiles.
So as I said, I'm listening to all of your conversations. Can I give unsolicited advice?
Have a look at Crow.
The people across the hall, you know they're fiends. Do you think they're monsters?
I mean, no.
Is this it just him or at me too?
Sure.
Of course not.
Do you think that just because she has pointy teeth, Rose is now a monster?
That's not exactly what I meant. This change was forced upon her. She didn't.
From
That was because of me.
my observations, she seems pretty happy.
That she does.
So maybe even if it's your fault, maybe it's all for the best.
Revel glance at Six to get her read on that.
Six thinks about it, then nods.
Besides, as far as I can tell, you still trust her. Or if you don't, why the hell are you letting her go all over my house?
I do. Thank you, Crow and Six.
You're welcome. Can you stop sulking in front of me all the time now?
Let's roll his eyes.
That's a no. That's fine.
Sulking is like a core part of Rev. It's part of what gives him his mysterious demeanor. Look at
Oh
him.
no, he has a tragic backstory, just like everyone else. She flips a page in her book.
Do you have a tragic backstory, Rev?
He just folds his ears and picks up his sword and goes back to attacking dummies. Or whatever's down there.
Do you respond to this, Six?
She's just laughing. I want to try to get a read if he's actually upset or if he's amused by this. Can I insight him?
Please.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Hard to tell.
He's being mysterious.
He is.
That's that mysterious aura.
Well, it looks like you've got things under control, and I saw what you did to those monsters in the desert. I'll make sure Navali stays safe.
2-6. Be well.
You too.
Oh, I've been meaning to ask. Do you need my help or any of the people not busy for your little double excursions?
If you're offering, I mean, he'll kind of look at 6. More help is better, right?
You're skilled with divination magic, right, Crow?
Expertise in it, yes.
She nods. I don't want to speak for Navali, but those skills could be useful in our mission to avoid violence.
If you need me, well, I have nothing to do, and as long as you promise to feed me, I'll be very happy.
She defers to Rev. I could ask Navali.
Please, I think it's a good idea. If you're okay with this.
I'll ask for permission, but I was told give them anything they need, including yourselves.
Sure.
Right, you can go back to sulking. I asked my question.
It just kind of looks like he's considering something, but if 6 doesn't look like she has anything else to add, then he'll go back to training.
If he looks like he's considering something, she's gonna stare you down.
Bro,
Mm-hmm.
If this is too much, I don't want to over request or have you spread yourselves thin. Am I correct in remembering you mentioned is Varia around?
Sure, she's honestly probably just gathering materials over the past few days.
What's her disposition toward vampires?
She's never met one.
Could she be inclined to not like them?
Her specialty is in poisons. I get the feeling she'd hate them because she can't hurt them.
That might be difficult then. Perhaps not. It was just a random thought.
Also, her other specialty is in explosives, which you don't want to do if you're underground.
Yes, perhaps not.
But she's good at gathering information if you want her to scout for you.
I will bear this in mind.
If I go with them, she'll be manning the bar, as that'll be her orders, so you can just ask her.
Very good.
Any other conversations you'd like to have before we cut this scene? Rev, you continue to train for a bit longer. 6, you can either help him train or head out, either way. Let's talk about Sleepy Navali. Hi, Sleepy Navali.
Hello.
You go to the temple?
I go to the Iron Anvil first.
Oh, of course. You go to the bearded anvil.
I'm sorry, bearded anvil.
I understood what you meant. It's fine. And as you start heading to the doors, you can see Pamelia has a look of, why are we here again?
We're picking up the shield that they said
Oh,
they'd.
right. Yes.
I'm very
Because we
much
won
looking
that
forward
cooking
to it.
contest. That's right.
We did. I'm very much looking forward to the shield. I'm just hoping I can appreciate it in my tired state.
You go up, you knock on the door. One of the doors opens up. You have no context for what any of them are like because you haven't been here as much as Slosser and Six. But he looks you up and down, then looks towards Pamelia and hones in on the sword, then looks over at you again. Did you change the name?
Oh, of that sword?
Mm-hmm.
Navali looks at Perm. What did you name it?
Oh, did it have a different name? Because I was told to just name it. The dwarf just kind of stares at her. Blooming Garden of Eternal Vines? Guts. Fine. He seems to write this down and put it off to the side. You're here for your shield, it's done.
Yep.
He goes off. He grabs what appears to be a wooden frame with metal placed in such a way that it's more like a wall than an actual kite shield that you're more used to. It has very clear markings that signify it's you. In other words, they put a literal bunny as its herald in front of the shield.
Love it.
And he just hands it to you. Some anthracite was thrown into this because favors. It should take you an hour before it starts making sense to you. I hope you enjoy being shot in the face.
Navali wants to try it on.
It's bigger than your previous shield. It's not going to protect you more, but that it's very clear to that. You're expecting more weight, but it's not there. You move it around a little bit, and it feels like you're moving almost like a door frame in front of you.
It will take some getting used to, but I like it a lot. Thank you very much for making this.
You're welcome. Remember, we're the best, and if anyone asks where you got it, you tell them we made it.
I will tell them right away where to get a shield like this.
And if anyone asks where they got the sword, tell them we didn't make it.
Navali tries to suppress a laugh.
It's technically true.
Actually, yeah, that's right. It's technically not made at the Bearded Anvil. Navali will thank them again and start heading off to the Helm's Temple.
They wave you goodbye without another word, and you head towards the Temple of Helm that you've been to many times. Doesn't take too long to get there, another hour. Pamelia seems a bit nervous about entering with you and looking for permission from you to enter.
It's all right to come in, Perm. I promise the priestess here is especially kind. But
I remember her. I'm not worried about her.
I think you will be fine, Perm. But if it is too much for you, I won't take offense to you finding maybe a space outside.
No, we were told to work in pairs. It's okay.
It will be fine, I promise.
You enter. You notice the familiar priestess kind of look over to you and give you a solemn nod. Familia just finds a seat off to the side and lets you have your conversation.
And is the Vieira woman here?
You don't see her immediately.
Priestess Neen.
Yes?
Is the oh my gosh, out of character, I forgot her name.
That's okay. Her name was stupid.
Drin Day or something like
Drin,
that.
yes.
Drin. I wanted to see if perhaps Drin was here.
Yes, she came in yesterday. Starving thing and needed a warm bed. She is upstairs.
And do you
She
mind if-
said the protector of the forest agreed to help her, and she seemed very happy about this. I assume she spoke to you?
Yes, she spoke of something that was very upsetting to hear about. I'm going to see about doing something about it.
She is upstairs, but before you leave, may I discuss something about her?
Yes, of course. What is it?
Before you leave, discuss it
Oh.
with her first.
Okay, thank you. All right. Parm, do you want to come up with me, or would you like to stay down
I'm
here?
fine.
Okay.
You
As
can
in, she,
sense the nervousness.
Parm, it's okay if you don't want to go upstairs with me.
It's fine.
Nabali will lead them upstairs, but she's going to give Perm a good pat on the shoulder to help encourage her.
Roll insight.
We're in Helm's Temple, so...
Yeah, you're
also...
in Helm's Temple. This completely makes sense. You're distracted.
Also, technically, I think I have disadvantage on all
You
ability
have
checks.
disadvantage on all ability checks. This is correct. Would you
So
like to see if you get a 1? Perfect.
Okay.
You are distracted and tired. You cannot read why Primilla is so nervous.
We head up to find Dernj?
Drin.
Drin, I'm sorry.
It's a stupid name.
I think that will help. Dernj. Okay.
You head upstairs. It's not too hard to find her. She seems to be just in a bed, very calmly praying to one of the with a symbol of Helm in her hands.
Drinch?
Yes?
I'm sorry to interrupt you, but do you have a moment to speak?
Of course. She gets up and just comes over to you. Is there something I can do to you, Protector?
I just
for
had
you. It's just it's been a while.
No, don't worry about it. It's all right. I just had some more questions that I wanted to ask before I headed out.
Of course, anything, Protector.
Well, I guess first thing I want to ask though is, how are you doing? Are you settling in okay?
Yes, having warm bed, and the priestess has been happy to give me bread for the day, and that it's nice to have a full belly.
Yes. I'm glad you're settling in well. Priestess Nina's a very kind woman. Is this your first time outside of the homeland?
It is, yes.
This, I guess, isn't exactly related to the task at hand, but it's been a very long time since I've been home. I assume then you were there for when the attack happened, yes?
Yes, I remember it well.
I haven't been back home since then. And, like, I know this might sound strange, but did you actually meet my mother personally?
I was only 7 at the time, but I remember her, yes. She gave me a pat on the head and said that we all go to be big and strong like her.
She used to do the same for me. Well, do you remember what she was like in the. As in. I'm curious about how our people saw in her.
She was. We had no fear because we knew that she would make anything that came at us, well, stop existing. I remember when one time uh, a child just wandered into the forest unsupervised, and she went to go look and found that the child had been eaten by a giant snake. So she ripped the snake and, like, she grabbed the snake, brought it back to town square, and ripped it in two in front of everyone, and just took this child out of its stomach.
And the child was all right?
Of course.
Oh my goodness, that does sound like Mom. I admit I don't remember a lot, and what I do remember seems fleeting. It's nice to hear stories about her. What has happened to the homeland since Iridia has taken control over it?
Well, she gestures towards the outfit she's currently wearing. This is what we're all supposed to wear. We have been taught how to be good natured to our owners. I guess that is the best word.
Mhm.
Serve them in the ways that they like, cook clean, smile when they look at you.
And
If you don't do any of these things, you are oftentimes brought outside to be whipped until you do.
I was going to ask if. But you've answered my question already. Has a man named Scarlet been there recently?
No. The man who currently owns, according to himself at least, Iridia has given him jurisdiction of our lands. It's a man named Lord Turmok.
That name sounds familiar.
Amelia said it.
Yes. Navali is going to take just a quick glance at Permilia, hearing that, knowing
You look
that
downstairs and she did not follow you.
Oh, okay. I thought she did. I've heard that name before. I've heard that man has taken refuge inside my old home.
Yes, he believed because we revered the protector so much. That must be like the Lord. So he thought it was a symbol of strength, and that is what it means. He has truly profaned the forest, not understanding such trivial knowledge.
True. And, I guess I'm curious if. Do you know if there's any rebel groups in our homeland that is trying to take back, or attempting, or.
There was a few in the first few years, but they were eradicated very violently. No one's dared to try and do anything beyond that. And, well, until about a month ago, that some are willing to dissent, just talk back, refuse some orders. And that's what caused this to happen. I don't know if they have a name.
Do you know if they're still operating?
I wouldn't know. I'm sorry, I'm not a part of them.
No, it's all right. I'm merely wanting to ask these in case I want to make sure after we set those men free that they have a place to go that's safe for them. And I was curious about perhaps seeing if I could get in contact with some of the rebel groups.
Or
Maybe-
persuasion with disadvantage. Because you're exhausted.
Yeah. Oh,
She kind of is looking off to the side. I don't know of any other rebel groups, but I know Termac's not the only one who owns the forest now. I just don't know his name.
do you know if Lord Termac was the one who initiated this capturing of the Viera men?
It must be, yes. Either
And-
that or his son,
What is his son's name? Do you know?
Lord Termac Jr., I believe.
Lord. I'm writing that down, even though it's just Junior.
It's very clear she does not know Iridian names. You've heard Permilia speak of how Iridian names people. She clearly doesn't know them.
Yeah. I guess I'm also curious of another question, or another thing. Does the name Arturius ring a bell to you?
Well, another persuasion.
With disadvantage?
Yes. With a 12. Yes.
Red hair?
Yep. Scarred, violent sort.
Big gauntlets? Yes.
Yes. He now owns the northern part of the forest.
Curious. I'm writing that down, one sec. Do you happen to know any of the other names for the people who are in charge of certain sections of the forest?
No, unfortunately, much of what I was doing was for guardsmen. I was not introduced to anyone who would actually be in charge.
And you don't happen to know who's leading the battalion that's holding the Viera men, do you?
No, I simply know that it's not the northern forces, it's the center forces. So it's not. You said his name was Artorius? Yes, Artorius. It's not his men.
Mm-hmm. Gotcha. All right. That has been a lot of very good information. I thank you very much for being open to talking with me. And if you're still in Dovran when I come back, it would be nice to hear some more stories of the homeland.
Of
I would-
course,
I would love to see it one day for myself, but for now, stories are all I have.
I intend to help the priestess just maintain this temple and hope that, at the very least, I can make something of myself here now. I do
Yes.
not wish to go back.
I don't blame you. Dovran is admittedly not kind to people like us, but there are good people here. And, well, at the very least, you have a friend here. She kind of points, taps on her chest like that.
Protector, I could never assume such things.
Well, it's more of a way to help ease your worries. If you need of me, just come find me. My guild is Shield of the Outcast.
I'm sure that I will find you if I need of you. And if you need of me, I'll try and stay here, and I will try to write down some of the stories. Maybe that will make things easier.
Thank you, I would appreciate that. The only thing I will say is, it's best not to explore the city at night. It can be rather dangerous.
Of course.
All right. Well, I don't know when I'll be back, but I hope you are well in the time that I am gone. And like I said, Priestess Nina is a very wonderful woman. She will take good care of you.
I'm sure she will.
And Navali will wave goodbye and head down to Priestess Neen.
You head down, and as you head down, you notice Vermilia still kind of fidgeting off to the side. Neen looks over to you.
You said you wanted to speak with me.
I did. I have spoken to her for a bit of time. While I believe she is an innocent in this, I need you to understand. Do you know what is happening here?
Can I insight that?
You may.
I'm going to do it at disadvantage.
Navali,
Yes.
no worship of her helm would not know the basics of combat and war. Literally, you are about protecting people.
Mhm.
It's not about asking for protection, it's about being the protector. Meaning, this priestess must have combat experience, and she has connected some dots in her head.
I would very much like to hear your insight on this.
There is no time frame, merely capture, and if even an innocent such as her knows, they're making sure everyone is aware of where they are going. This is a trap.
This is... I did worry somewhat that there might be more.
I'm not saying that you should not go. Any warrior understands that you give real. Anytime you attempt to feint, it must be a real strike. They will kill these men if no one shows up. But understand they will be expecting people to show up.
I'm wondering if... Well... Dringe is calling me protector of the forest. I'm wondering if they're trying to lure the protector of the forest out to make an example.
Either you or other rebels.
Do you think... No, I appreciate this insight. I will make sure to tell my group to be watchful of this. Thank you very much.
Of course. I hope you understand that I do believe you still must go.
Mhm.
They will be executed. But I do not wish for you to go believing that you can do this without being known.
Thank you. I will take this knowledge and use it to the best of my abilities.
Of course. I hope to see you again.
Mhm. I will be sure to visit when I come back to Dolvran.
And please, your human friend is welcome, no matter how nervous she looks.
I've tried to tell her that, but I think she's still just getting used to things.
Go ahead.
Anyway, thank you very much for your help today. And thank you very much for looking after Dringe. She really needed somebody, and I felt that here would be the perfect place.
I agree. And I do intend to find her better clothes than what she currently wears.
Good idea. It would be nice to see her out of that uniform.
Be safe, protector. You can tell there's a bit of sarcasm in that one.
You as well, priestess. Thank you. And she will lead Perm out and kind of nudge her on the way out. So even the priestess says you're welcomed.
Mm-hmm.
So now it's time for our date, right?
It is. So you said vegan everything.
Yes.
Are you sure we can't go to a place that also serves some fish?
You know what? For today, I think I can stomach this meal. Just for you.
Thank you. I promise I'll eat it by myself. You can get something that isn't fish.
I'm sure they will have something other than fish. Hopefully. Maybe. We'll find out.
So I'm going to ask, would you like the actual scene with your date, or will we hand wave this off?
I say let's just hand wave out because I still wanted to do that thing with Rev.
Perfect. Well, Navali is gone for a few hours. Is there anything else people wanted to do?
Who has the purity gem?
I believe it is currently in someone's bag, and no one's attuned to it. Probably Leo's bag, if memory serves.
Leo did not grab it. He would not have. I thought Karuto actually grabbed it and just sort of put it in
Now,
his
Karuto
pocket.
did not actually grab it. I know
Oh.
it was carefully grabbed after the fight. Like, I know
Kaito
it's
refused
on
to touch it.
in the party, yeah.
Yeah. Let's just hammer it and say that Rev had it because, good leader, responsibility.
Sure. He would not have because he was not part of the fight, but he could have been handed to him afterwards.
That's what I was implying, yeah. Kaito would want to seek out Rev to talk to him about the purity gem.
Rev, are you still training and sulking in the basement?
Trying harder not to sulk, but yes.
As you knock on the basement, Crow just leads you there. He's trying so hard not to sulk.
Kaito looks sort of mildly perplexed at that. I thought he was preparing.
He's preparing by sulking.
I see. Reverence.
He'll stop what he's doing. Karito.
I feel like we need every possible edge we can garner in these upcoming engagements. Would you perhaps help me with the purity gem?
Certainly. Sure. And if Rev has it on him, he'll retrieve it.
I'll allow it to happen because we don't remember who has it.
He'll offer it to Karito.
The reason I hesitate is that, as you know, it
Hold on,
forced
no
me.
one's attuned to it now?
Crow, please. As you know, it forced me inside myself and took over. Would there be any way to perhaps communicate with it as you do with yours?
You mean without attuning to it first?
He nods.
I actually asked about this, and I think Sophia can do that. Maybe. Let's find out if you want.
He nods. I'm hesitant to do so again, however, if I can just perhaps speak to it and see why this happened, maybe work to find a way to prevent it happening again. I just would not want to be dangerous during the mission.
I understand. Yes, I think we can perhaps make this happen. Um. Oh, out of curiosities, if we're talking about doing this, do you know where Navali is currently?
I believe her and Pamela went to get coffee and perhaps continued on with their needs for the day. I'm not sure exactly where.
Perhaps we should, if we're going to do this, wait until they get back. I think she also had some questions for Sophia. Could maybe knock it all out at the same time.
Of course, there is no rush. It will give me time to think.
Very good. Then, yeah, we'll make it happen.
He nods and then bows and withdraws.
As you withdraw and you're guided out, it seems Crow immediately rushes back. Rev, you are bombarded with so many questions about, wait, what happened? How was that possible?
Which part?
I'm going to hand wave it as it's just catching up on things that happen in the desert, as she had no idea that you lost one of the Eidolons.
Breaks his third-hand information because Rev got told after the fact.
Any other scenes people would like to have happen during those few hours? Staring at you, Six.
I'm gonna grab Willow.
I knew it.
I was waiting to see if someone else had something.
You grab Willow. He's just been off to his side. You do notice that he now has two blades tied around, and he pauses for a moment when you grab him and goes, "Hold on," just hands you the rapier back.
She nods. You've armed yourself.
Yeah, couldn't afford better armor, but these are pretty good.
She nods. Are you ready?
No, but I'm doing it anyway.
She nods. Thanks for coming. I never thought that this would happen.
Thank you for breaking me out of flowers.
She nods. It was scary.
Not for me. It was more of annoyance.
Not the flowers part, the part after.
I understand.
You... Well, I can't make this promise. I want to say you don't have to do anything you don't want to do. But Navali is in charge on this mission and not me.
I will listen to the large bunny. She seems nice.
She's really nice. She's very compassionate.
I can see that. And I think she changed you.
She nods. She showed me that there's more important things than being powerful.
If only Dad had Navali, huh?
I don't know what his deal is.
I mean, I do.
He
I knew
wouldn't
him longer
listen.
than you did.
Was he always like that?
No, he sometimes was worse. All he cared about was control. He wanted to make sure everything worked the way he wanted it to, and he wanted enjoyment to be controlling things. If something was out of his control, he enjoyed putting it under his control. He's a terrible person, Six. I always hate how much you looked up to him.
I believe you. I wanted a dad. and so I guess I took whatever I could get.
Well, I'm glad that, at the very least, even if he was a terrible dad, he don't seem to be the worst half-sister.
You mean that?
Well, he could be trying to stab me right now, and that's what he'd like, so you're not the worst.
Well, I'm a grown-ass woman, and I don't need a dad now. I'm so embarrassed that I fell for it. It feels gross.
6, can I give you brotherly advice?
Is it be selfish?
Well, no, you're already doing that.
Is it get over yourself?
No. Kind of.
Okay, tell me.
You're always going to be embarrassed when you look at your past. That's a good thing. It means you've grown up.
She nods.
I mean, he kind of taps his sword. I used to think I was so good and so cool because I learned how to use 2 swords. That means I'm twice as strong as anyone using one.
She looks like she has something to say, but she's not sure if she should say it.
He's staring. He's clearly staring as this was an embarrassing story he's waiting for you to respond to.
I understand.
I'm a lot smarter now. Now I cringe thinking about it.
You wanted to be strong?
I wanted to beat my dad because he's an asshole.
I have a request.
Yeah?
I am the guild's tactician, and in times of stress and battle, they look to me to make decisions. I don't know how you fight, and so I can't make good calls if I don't know what you're capable of. There's a training area in the basement. Will you show me what you can do?
Is that where your guild leader keeps going?
She nods.
Sure. For the sake of some brevity as you're taken downstairs, and Rev, people just keep interrupting your sulking time.
Yeah, he might go check on somebody else. He's not getting a lot of training done or sulking.
For the sake of a minor amount of brevity and just explaining Willow, you quickly realize in your fast sparring match, go ahead and roll a 1d2 to see who wins.
I'll call odds.
You're not having a good day. You were expecting a fighting style similar to Snow, a defensive style, a constant moving around and pushing you to the point of, I'm going to parry you and repost constantly. Willow does not fight like that. He fights a little bit like you. He puts himself in danger in very quick strikes, and then just before you're able to strike back, he's gone. And he is running across this room at speeds that you would have to really exert yourself to do so. You're unable to counterattack him. And he seems to almost be bouncing off the walls and using them as his advantage. Additionally, anytime he strikes you, you can almost feel some kind of magic go over you for a split second, and the wound deepens every time he cuts you a second time. You can tell he's very skilled in a way that would piss Snow off.
That's actually what she says. Dad would hate this. He'd think it's flowery and without substance.
Oh, he'd hate this more, and he slams his hand on the ground and roll a strength saving throw. You suddenly are covered in vines and unable to move.
What the fuck is this? Magic?
Yeah, you see, the little sylphs, they kind of gave me a couple of blessings.
Oh, he'd hate this. He'd say it's unnecessary, says Six, covered in vines.
Right?
Why would you waste a turn setting up when if you had the drop on your opponent, they could already be dead?
Right? He removes his hand and the vines go away.
You've been practicing this entire time to beat him.
Yeah, I wanted to prove myself to him. And it wasn't until I was trapped in that flower field that I realized why.
Why did he put you there? Did he force you?
He. It's complicated. Did you. You remember the druid? You remember the druid.
She nods.
So the wind stopped completely a few years ago. Not long after you left, actually. And they came up with a plan. If the winds stop, everything's going to have a lot more problems. So why not make Fae do it for us? The only way to do that was to bind them. The only way to bind them was to give them something.
Why you?
Because he hates me, I guess.
He forced you?
I didn't want that. Well, I was told I was going to do something that would be very useful. And then when I found out what it was, I couldn't say no anymore.
I don't like that.
Yeah, he's an asshole.
She looks troubled. I've been practicing to beat him too. Before, because I wanted to prove myself, but I don't actually have anything to prove anymore. It wouldn't matter.
So we agree then.
I'm going to kick his ass.
Oh, same. If I see him again, I'm going to stab him in the throat.
I hope it never comes to this, but if it does, let's stab him in the throat together. You're pretty good, actually.
Thanks. I don't really like to do this anymore, but I'm not. I know how to fight.
Clearly. I won't make you fight. I can't make you fight.
6. I owe you a favor for freeing me. No. I owe your group a favor for saving me. If the bunny needs help, I'm gonna help the bunny. She seems nice. She deserves help.
We're going to rescue some captives.
Oh, I'm good at that.
There's 10 people, she said, that they're going to execute, and we have to get them out.
You said you're their tactician?
She nods with a smile.
And I'm also good at scouting.
I'm not good at that, and that's what I need.
I'll get you the information, you come up with a plan.
She nods confidently, and we'll get the prisoners out.
And no one will know better. He tries to fist bump you.
She fist bumps. I'm just kind of assuming they go back and forth a little bit longer until they're tired.
Makes sense to me, especially since he's willing to show you some other spells he has. I'm happy to just explain this because Celestra has his sheet. He knows ranger spells. Hey,
I have one spell. It's attacking many times at once. I do it.
He can attack 3 times with a bonus action.
Damn it. Okay, that's all.
He is competing with you at your level. It's actually he's a lot stronger than you were expecting. That's why you lost. Reverence. You said you wanted to look for people?
Yeah. He'll leave the training room and go look for a VD first, I suppose.
She is not hard to find. I'm still going to ask for perception because she's never left the Tandem Imperium. She just keeps hiding in corners. It's not too hard to find. Yeah, you can tell that she's clearly just observing people and trying not to get into conversations.
Does she look like she wants to be left alone?
That's not necessarily the case. It's more of she's the type of person who doesn't want to talk to you unless you ask her first.
Okay. I mean, Rev won't interrupt what she's doing. He'll just kind of like slide up next to her and, hey, VD.
Hmm? Oh, hi. Did you know that traitorous blonde one really likes to make her nails weird colors?
I didn't know that.
She's making them blue right now.
Do you? Did you want to make your claws a different color?
Could I?
I don't see why not.
It'd be really cool if it was like purple, so they come out and you see black, then purple. It'd be really cool.
Maybe you could ask her.
Why would I do that?
Because she's doing her nails.
Why would she do that?
Well, you're in the same guild.
Yeah, but she just kind of ignores me and blows me off.
Does she? Has she done that recently?
No.
She's trying. She's trying to do better about it.
So we do trust her, right?
We do.
Okay. I'll try to be nice. Is that all? Sorry, do you need something?
I just, since you're going on this journey, I just wanted to make sure you're okay. See if you needed anything.
No, I mean, I want to get out of the city. I want to see what the lands are like, or a bit further. And I think it'd be really cool to see this, where the kind of gestures towards the bunny ears. I want to see more of them because yours kicks so much ass.
Very much so.
You can get an army of them. Do you think an army of them could beat up all the vampires?
That's an enterprising idea. I don't know. Perhaps. Take care of yourself, VD, okay?
I'm good at that. Wait, are you worried about me?
I just want you to be safe.
You're worried about me.
I suppose I am.
Hold on. I was told what to do if someone says they're worried about me. Don't worry. I have the protection of gods on my side. I think that's what Dawn said.
Gods?
Something about Desna and Anu. I didn't understand it.
I don't think I've heard of that one. Desna?
Some butterfly goddess.
Huh. Goddess of butterflies.
Probably. I know her symbols. Hold on. She just digs into her pouch and takes out what appears to be an ornamental butterfly. It's this.
And I can assume I've never seen anything like this.
You've never seen this before, no.
Interesting. No, this is new to me.
Yeah, your land's weird.
It sure is, isn't it? Well, if you think of anything you need before you depart, please just let me know.
Does that include really fancy food?
Do you want really fancy
Can I have a
food?
fish pie?
I mean, if you want fancy food, you can do better than that. He'll, like, fish some gold out of his pocket.
Wait, I can?
Sure, why not?
I mean, the one time I had a fish pie here, it was really good.
I mean, he's just gonna, like, dig, like, 10 gold out of his pocket and just give it to her.
She's gonna look at you. You know this is enough fish pies for like 3 months, right?
Well, I mean, it'll be something for the road as well, yes?
I'm gonna go buy us some rations. She immediately runs off.
Wait, go with someone.
Oh, right. She grabs Rose, who is immediately like, wait, what?
Okay, be safe. Well, she's gone. Rev's gonna go maybe find Varia.
She is not in the building.
Rev's gonna go find Crow.
Knock on the door. Yeah, she's gathering poisons and such. Do you want me to just tell her to meet you somewhere?
If that would be permissible, I wanted to talk to her about something. I don't know if it is something that she can do help with or even will want to, but I wanted to make you aware.
Sure. We can use Leo's spell to get her to go someplace, or you can just. Do you think you can get it in under 12 seconds?
Probably not. Um,
A moment. She just cast the spell. Varia, meet us back at the Tandem Imperium in an hour. You get a very quick responsive. Sure. Is that all?
yep, that's all from me.
An hour passes. The bartender who has served you drinks for most of the time they've been here, just kind of wanders in. Immediately starts looking for Crow, but catches your eyes. Notices that you're just staring at her.
Hello?
Yes, I was told I was needed here.
I was, informed you're proficient at gathering information.
Yes, I do it for this guild very regularly. Is there something you need?
Have you been informed of the circumstances our guild has recently become embroiled?
Yes, undead, mind control, keep my mind safe.
Guards, nobility, the whole.
Yes, I mean, I was informed that we're no longer allowed to work normal jobs, and that is because these mind controlling monsters are everywhere in the government. Yeah.
Right, so. And be the first to tell me if this is a bridge too far. I don't want you or anyone else to overextend, not for something like this, but I was curious with your resources and your abilities, how readily could you maybe gather information on someone in the Pearl District?
Who?
A tabaxi woman. who looks like
Because
me.
they'd be so strange and out of place fairly easily. I will need some coin so I can forge some documents and some coin in order to, well, make it so I'm not just doing this for freedom. 100 gold and give me 2 weeks.
Rev does some quick calculations while I look at the guild fund sheet.
We have some 300 odd.
Can I get back to you on that?
Of course. Kronos had to contact me.
Okay. Thank you very much, Faria.
Not an issue. Is that all?
I think so for now, yes.
And here I thought your cat friend would have wanted more bullets. Okay.
She may yet if she's around. Maybe I should go get her.
At this point, Six is sparring with Willow.
I mean, I'll go let her know Varia is here just in case.
Sure, Six. I mean, you already got your things, but do you want even more bullets?
Oh, thanks. Will you tell her I should be good for now? I've got 20 shots. If I save them for emergencies, I think I'll be fine.
Rev will nod and go tell Varia.
And she just immediately leaves afterwards. At which point, plenty of things have happened. I'm going to ask if Leo or Karuto had anything in particular they wanted to do for the past few hours.
Twiddling thumbs.
Did I hear correctly out of character that Crow is coming to Team Bunnies?
It hasn't been discussed yet, but Navali intended to ask that as a group once they regroup. But
Oh,
Six
gotcha.
technically wanted to ask that.
Okay. I'll hang tight then. I'm good.
Do you regroup? Navali, you're still tired. Your date was fun.
Yay!
Everyone has arrived back into the Tandem Imperium. It's very easy to find everyone. Important discussions must be had. Discuss.
Navali,
Yes.
today I learned that Crow may be available. She's skilled with divination magic, and she might be of assistance if we're trying to rescue those people. I'm not in charge of this mission, so I wanted to field the idea to you to see what you thought.
Well, if she would like to come, then I won't say no, but I will admit there has been some changes to the mission that I wanted to bring up. Or rather, I learned some more information that I think is important to the mission.
She has a seat and waits.
And everybody's here, right?
Mm-hmm.
Sure.
Correct.
Well, I spoke with the Vieran woman who told me about this in the first place, and I was curious about a couple things. First thing I learned, Arturius is at my homeland. Apparently, he's in charge of the northern part of the forest. He's not the one who said for this or instigated this to happen, though. It seems to be the leader of the Central Forest who has initiated this. I know that's not exactly for the mission, but, well, I wanted to ask because I had been curious if he had been there. The second thing I learned is, well, this came more of a instinct from Priestess Neen. And I admit I think I agree with her. I don't believe a lot of this is just a coincidence. I think they know that we're coming, but they don't know exactly who is coming. it very well likely could be an ambush. Or they are waiting for somebody, is what I'm trying to say. So they know we're coming. At least we have to be in the mindset that they know that we're coming. And I know that changes things.
That's problematic, of course.
It is. And my guess is they are either trying to. Well, you see, the Vieran woman called me protector of the forest. And I'm not sure if that name means anything to all of you or if you've heard me speak of it before, but the name says it all. It is the one who is in charge of protecting the forest and keeping the people safe. And I am curious if this truly is a trap they're trying to lead the protector out of the forest out, but it's also very likely that they are trying to root out any rebel groups. They're going to kill the men regardless. But it is important to know that we might need to go into this knowing that they know that we're coming. But it still needs to be done. If Crow is comfortable with that idea, then I still think her talents could be of use.
Is Permilia here as part of the everybody's meeting?
Yes, absolutely.
If I may ask, I mean, we'll have plenty of time on the road to talk tactics, but we may. Is there anything you would warn us about when it comes to Iridian traps?
Hit them fast, hit them really hard. Overwhelm them with numbers, and if you can't overwhelm them with numbers, overwhelm them with overwhelming power.
Do they have protocol for a situation like this to respond to a distraction that we could create? Or would they stand quite firm?
Depends upon the type of distraction, but they'd never send a full group to go check something out unless it's a very big distraction. As well, any military group of Aradia would have at least one cleric of the five, so you should expect magic. And the type of magic that she kind of looks over to Celestra.
Healing magic.
Healing, divination, sometimes fire and death.
Thunder.
Lightning, normally, but I was just using Celestra as the example.
Do you know anything about the area that we're going into?
She shakes her head.
Out of character, the area that we're going to is not the same area that we went to when we were going into Iridia, correct?
Correct.
Okay.
It is literally the opposite end.
Gotcha.
I have some thoughts about our tactics and strategy.
Go for it.
from what you're describing, if we try anything, they'll know. Which makes me think that we need to involve as few people as possible. Not amongst our allies, but people in the forest. We can't even tell friendlies where we're going and what we're doing. If we need to hit hard and fast, then we need to discuss what we are and aren't there to do. This is your mission, but I'm not there to murder a bunch of Iridians.
I do want to make it clear. I want to avoid bloodshed if I can. And that is my goal. But if I see those men attempting to kill the Vieira, I will kill them. I hope that does not come as a surprise.
Our primary objectives are to avoid bloodshed and to rescue the captives, right?
Yes.
As she confirms this with Navali, she looks to the other people who are going on this mission. Lieren, Willow, VD, Tushiyuki.
If I'm being completely honest, the subject of killing people has been on my mind for some time. In general, and you all know that I've done it plenty of times. My magic is unwieldy in that sense, and I'm hoping, I guess, I will go on this mission, but I'm trying to. I don't want to kill anybody either. It's the simplest way to put it. And I might, if you're calling for if it's a last resort, I will pull out my magic.
I don't want there to be a misunderstanding. I too do not wish to have bloodshed. I want to get the Vieira men out of there and safe. That is my goal, and that is the goal of the mission. But you have to understand. And she kind of looks to Parm, and I'm not saying this as to mean ill will upon your countrymen, Parmelia. She'll look back to the group. Oh, sorry.
If I may speak, if they put your people in danger and you draw your sword to protect them, that's not ill will towards my people. That's protecting your own. I would do the same.
I still want it said, but thank you. You must understand that it's possible, even if we manage to rescue these men, if they are to be killed and Aridia wants them dead, then that will happen. They will go to great lengths for one person. I know because I've lived it. And I never want that to happen to another person. Not another Vieira, Tabaxi, Iridian, or anyone. No one deserves. No one deserves to go through what I did. I need to make sure those men are safe, and I will do what I need to do to keep them safe. If that means striking down a soldier who wishes to do them harm, then my blade will be at the Vieira side. If this is a problem, and I understand it's a hard thing to ask, and I understand that killing is not something that we wish to do. But if that is too difficult, then I will not hold it against you for not wanting to come.
Navali.
Hmm?
I am prepared to kill if I must. but I will not take this decision lightly, and I will not use it as a first resort. Do we agree?
If we get in there and we have confirmation that we can talk peacefully or get out peacefully, I will go with that option. Just as I hope that as soon as we find that they are not looking for peace, that you will stand with my kind and the Viera who are in danger.
She nods. I will.
She looks to Leo. It is important that I hear from everybody that they are willing to agree to this.
Are you asking me to be okay with what you do, or are you asking me to kill people?
I am asking if what I spoke of is agreeable. I'm not asking you to kill people, Leo. I'm asking if you are okay with my suggestion of going in, seeing if we can get them out peacefully, or maybe even not interact with them at all, and making sure those people are safe.
That sounds great, of course. But if I may ask you, if that time comes and we are forced to attack, are you ordering me to use my magic?
Leo, what is the name of our guild?
He gives you the look like he knows what it is, but that he's not satisfied with your response. It's a boundary that I really would like to set. I don't mean to be insubordinate, but there are things that I have more blood on my hands than I would like. And kind of looking to the entire group as he says this. Like, I know that this is way more important than me. And I know that we're a team, but I can't sleep at night doing the things I do sometimes.
Then let me ask you this. There are 10 innocent men who are going to be executed regardless of what we do. If we don't go, they will die. If we do go, and we don't succeed, they will die. If we go, and we get them out of there, we save 10 innocent people. What was their crime? What was their crime, Leo? What was the crime that they got in that situation? Are they not outcast? Are they not in need?
I don't. Leo has the look on his face like he wants to say something but doesn't want to get in trouble.
Leo, say it.
The crime that every Iridian could be blamed for is the propaganda that the Five and the Iridian generals throw at them. Every Iridian we kill is a potential Permilia that could just be misguided. That could just need to be shown that their beliefs are flawed. And that's not an easy thing. And I'm not saying that everybody is redeemable. But if we are going to win this fight against Iridia, the fight, not the next week, but the years to come. We have to give people a chance to be better. We can't. We can. We need to kill as a last resort, not as a first option.
Were you
Vermilia
even listening?
slams her hand down. That is literally what she said!
Tavalli looks at Perm.
I don't want my countrymen dying either. But she said you don't want to fight unless it has to happen. And if it does, are you saying you wouldn't be willing to fight because they might die?
I didn't say I wasn't willing to fight. I said that my magic is volatile. I cannot use it without killing. I'm asking permission to be there in a capacity that is that I can control. I'm asking for you to be okay with that.
Are you trying to ask me if you can use your magic in a way that won't kill them? If it comes to it.
The answer to that is no. I can't use my magic in a way that can't kill them unless I'm holding back. So maybe that's what I'm asking. Are you going to be mad at me? Am I being ordered to use lethal force?
Leo,
if necessary.
if we are in a situation where my life is on the line, there's a man in front of me, and he is going to kill me. What would you do?
Of course I would intervene
Would you kill him?
if I absolutely had to.
All right. Would you say that the same for everybody? Would you say it for Six? Would you say it for VD?
Am I that untrustworthy?
No, I'm trying to help you understand. I know it is a tough decision, and I know it weighs heavy on your heart, but sometimes you need to do something to stop a tragedy. I'm not asking you to run into Aridia and slay every innocent person there that has no business doing what they're doing. I understand that not every single soldier in the Meridian army is a terrible human being or just terrible person. I understand what you're saying is that perhaps one day we could help them understand and see that their choices were perhaps given to them on unsavory means. I understand that. But if it means protecting people, I don't care what I have to do. If your life was in danger, I would be there. I would strike that person down. And I think you know that. I think all of you know that.
6 knots.
I don't care who is in front of me, who is hurting my friends and my family and people I love and I care about. I don't care who they are. If it means saving you, I will do what I need to. And that has never, at least I hope that has never spoken otherwise. I care about all of you. I care about all of you so much.
I've never questioned what you would do for us. I would love to think that nobody questions what I would do for us, but I know that I've been untrustworthy.
I'm not asking you to kill people, innocent people.
I don't want to say this, but my apprehension when I came back, emotions were high. Of course. We, as it was phrased at the time, needed to blow off steam. And Leo pulls out the longsword that he took off of the longsword and the poison vials that he took off of the drow that he killed at the warehouse, the drug warehouse. And he just sort of like lays it on the table. I didn't want to not give it my all, but I needed to be part of the team. I needed to win my way back into trusting people. And this drow died for it. Speaking of our countrymen, I don't get me wrong, I have no idea who he is or who he was, but he's the closest, at least of elven descent, the closest relative I've had. And we, in an effort to blow off steam, not only did I kill him, but the wake of death that was left behind us, even if we tried to pull our punches, was catastrophic. These are people that themselves perhaps had fallen under bad circumstances, people who the drow of Dulveron have they used to be, this is out of character, correct me if I'm wrong, sir, but the drow of Dulveron, they were the original citizens. They built this city. They were subjugated, and that sort of desperation drives people into illicit trades. And don't get me wrong, these people could have been terrible. They were, as we know, we did see them with the orphans, and I understand, but several of them died because we needed to blow off some steam. This situation is much different, but I cannot control my magic and I cannot control my conscience. Like, people who die to my hands, I question it all. I question the bandits we killed. I question the minotaurs that I killed. Even the kobolds when we first met. Rosalind gave us some money so that we could kill some kobolds for stealing food from a farm. And we're okay with that. I mean, it brought us all together. I can't say that I have regrets, but that blood is on my hands too. We could have given them food, told them to go somewhere else, taught them. I don't know. It's been half a year, longer since then. But every death from my hands weighs on me, and I know that nobody wants to kill here. I know that we're not aiming to kill these countrymen, but I also think that we've been in situations that could have been less deadly. And this is between me and my conscience. I'm not blaming anybody for this. I wish I had control over myself. I really do. And I will be there for you, Navali. I will bring us as close to the Iridian camp as I can. I will participate in the fight with my swords, as I always do, because that is a controllable sense of the most controllable sense of magic that I can wield. But I guess ultimately what I'm saying is if you call for lightning, if you if in a moment if there's a moment where I have to exercise my judgment and hold back, I will do so if I feel it's right. I'm saying this with respect to the sort of looking at Rev, looking at Six. I say this with respect to the tactics and the leadership that's been set up. I just I have to have boundaries. I have to know that I have control over how lethal I will be with my own magic. And I will be there and I will save people and I will use my magic if I absolutely have to. But I will pause and think about it as long as I could first.
Taking a life is not easy, Leo. When you take a life, there's a lot that comes with that. And for many it doesn't get easier. And honestly, I don't think it should get easier. It means a lot to take a life. I understand what you're saying and that it's hard and that it's difficult, and many times in my life, the choices I've had to make, the actions I've had to take, it did lead to a lot of death. Sometimes it was the only way I was able to survive. It meant my life or a man trying to stab me with a sword. I watched children get tortured for information about me, and I couldn't do anything about it. Everything I do that I like to say now is I do it from a place where I like to think that my actions are going to help somebody I care about.
Navali.
Yes?
Navali, you do not need to justify yourself. You have done nothing wrong. Stop.
She kind of looks to the ground. Thank you.
Leorin, there is no room for argument or for hesitation when we go on this mission. Innocent people's lives are in danger. Navali is in charge. You will respect her command when she is in charge, or you will not participate. Do you understand?
Leo's looking at Navali.
Six is right. If I am to be in charge of this mission, then you need to respect what I ask of you, Leo.
So you're asking me to kill people?
Oh my god.
She's asking you to trust her.
Navali actually looks a little hurt.
I'm not. I will do as you say. I hate that that is even a question, but I just need you to know how I feel about it.
I understand. Perhaps, if it's all right, I would like to switch the conversation.
If you'd like, I can leave.
No. We need to all... in case there's important information.
If you don't mind, I could use a break anyway. Just 5 minutes.
Sure.
Leo kind of like slowly, he doesn't storm off. He slowly stands up and leaves.
Navali,
Yeah.
as Leo leaves, could you roll perception? This is not hearing.
Yeah. I guess at a disadvantage, though, because I'm still...
Yes. Don't worry about it. Actually, hold on. Tell me
Casually
exactly what you'd be looking for while you're waiting for that moment.
Navali?
Yes, Navali.
I think she'd probably, after that conversation, she'd probably just kind of like find a seat and just kind of sit down and just
Fair enough.
sort of just sit to herself for a little bit.
Character approaches politely and sort of speaks quietly. You may wish to seek Premilia.
Yes. Thanks. And she'll stand up to go find Perm.
You quickly realize that somewhere during that conversation that Leah was having, she left.
Karuto, did you happen to see where she left?
He gestures.
Thank you. And she goes to find Perm.
She has quietly locked herself in a different room, but you knock, and with just "it's me," she'll open it up for you.
Can I come in for a bit?
Of course.
As soon as the door closes, Navali immediately hugs her.
Sorry, I was emotionally compromised. I shouldn't have said. Why are you hugging me?
I'm hugging you because I need a hug, and I think you do too.
I technically did I wasn't supposed to speak up. It's so. She hugs you back.
Thank you for speaking up for me. I have to thank Six too, and Rev. It was a hard conversation to have, but I think it's important.
I know you. She pauses again. If someone was in danger, I would be willing to kill them to make sure you or anyone else was safe. You didn't do anything wrong.
Thanks, Perm.
Yes, even if they're my countrymen.
Listen, if some Viera tried to kill you, I would kill them. No
I would
hesitation.
assume.
It doesn't matter who is trying to kill you. If they are killing you, I am gonna be there. I will be your giant big bunny shield.
I'm still sorry for yelling.
No, it's okay. But I still want to say thank you for it.
Could you let go?
Yes. Also, well, It's kind of nice having your girlfriend stick up for you.
Oh. Oh. Oh.
I'm sorry, is that a little too obvious?
Makes sense now. I'll give you a peck on the cheek. Please be safe.
I will, I promise. Should we go back out there?
I think I should wait here for a bit. I'm not going to help with any more tactics.
Okay. I will come check up on you after we're done. Okay?
Okay.
Do you want me to bring you a drink?
Yes.
I will do that when I get back. And Navali goes back to the group.
And Liren, is there something in particular you want to do when you moved off?
If Rev poked his head out, he would want to have a word. But if Rev is not sort of wandering, then it's fine. He's not looking for anybody, but if he would catch Rev if he could.
Reverence? How do you feel?
I don't know. I think Rev would eventually poke his head out just to see. Like he's in his head, like the meeting is just suspended, right? Like we still have other things to talk about. People are gonna come back, but
Sort of when you're in earshot, Leo will just sort of say, "Can I just have a moment?"
Rev will step out.
I expect that I've disappointed people in there, but well, please be candid with me.
You made your stance very clear, I think. I don't believe that there's any doubt regarding how you feel about the matter. And your concerns regarding our magic. Can you do what Navali asks you to? With her judgment when she deems necessary.
Absolutely. But I need to tell you, I will do this. But the toll that these things take on me, if I have to kill more people in a way that frankly feels preventable, I would like to have a talk when we get back about shifting into perhaps a more administrative role. I don't say that lightly. I don't want to leave you in that way. I want to be part of the team, but perhaps what I'm best for is handling
What's
some of
your
this.
criteria for what feels preventable?
I don't know. And that's probably one of the most challenging things about that conversation is that it's all hypothetical. We don't really know what's going to happen when we get there. But when I killed those bandits, I could have just hit him with my sword. I didn't have to fry them. It's not fair for me to have said what I said to Navalia, but the reality is if I could give away my magic and never use it again, I would. He pulls out his spell book and says I could tear a few pages out of this and sleep a lot better at night, frankly. But if the shield wants to use me as a weapon, it's very hard for me to do that. I know that I'm effective at it.
Okay. Do you want to work with us? Let's just ask this. Just this. Do you want to work with us?
Of course.
Would you feel more comfortable fighting vampires? Would that ease your conscience?
I'm afraid that frankly, I'm afraid the first answer to that is no. The second answer is I think they need me. Just because of the teleportation.
So this is where we're at then, which is the original question. Can you follow what Navali has to say? And I understand that if you are in a situation where you end up doing something with an unfortunate ending, that is not something you'd prefer. When you return, we can absolutely talk about shifting into a clerical role. I just
For the
need to know
time
that
being,
do
you can
this.
count on me.
Very good.
But if we all get through this, I would really appreciate if you could figure something out for me in that regard.
It will be done.
I really want to be a part of the guild. I just fear that this isn't the best way for me to do it.
I understand. Work with Navali. Keep her safe. Keep them all safe. And we will make this happen when you return.
Leo takes like a deep breath in and nods confidently. As confident as can be, like still stressed, but sort of feeling heard. I appreciate it. And I'm sorry to once again drive a wedge into the unity of this team.
The important thing is that we work together and stick together. This is important for a lot of reasons, and we need to work quickly.
All right. Well, I guess I won't take up any more of your time then.
Rev will return to where we were having the meeting, I suppose.
Leo follows 30 seconds behind, assuming nobody comes and gets him.
Well, with more discussions likely to happen, let us end there as we're slightly over time.
Oh boy.
Thanks for coming to the stream.
Drama.